Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today I'm going to be reacting to QuirkyLoveRosee. I haven't reacted to her channel probably in a very long time, and I haven't been keeping up with a lot of stuff, but I noticed that she's kind of getting in a little bit of hot water. There's a lot of channels making videos about her, and so I noticed this. I saw Obese to Beast video on this. I saw Tiny Blue Anthropologist's video on this. And I wanted to just offer my perspective. I want to really focus on the disordered aspects of what Rosie's doing. This is not me diagnosing Rosie. She claims to have B followed by the letter E followed by the letter D in this very video. So she's admittedly having that issue. So I want to show you guys what it looks like when somebody's kind of in denial or kind of trying to get people off their back within the disorder. And, this isn't a nice video to make. This isn't like a nice thing to do. But if it's going to be put out there, then it can be responded to. And I think it needs to be, from my perspective anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and just say all that. We're going to try to keep it more professional, more like on point, just because this is a little bit more serious of a topic. I'm going to speed up the video. It's 1.5 just because it runs a little long. And we're going to get into it. Okay? So let's go. Let's go.
Hi. Welcome to me. I don't even know where to start. It's been a very long time since I vlogged. There were a few times when I initially kind of stopped vlogging that I attempted. I filmed some stuff. I think it's all still in my phone. I haven't even looked back on it. But it's been months. Because I've been avoiding it, I haven't said hi, welcome to me in so long because I've been avoiding me. I've been doing lives a lot. But in terms of...
So something that was interesting about Tiny Blue Anthropologist's video, she talked a lot about how Rosie is saying certain things to disarm. So she's kind of like saying, I haven't been well. I haven't been doing well. So therefore, don't criticize me. Okay, that's what I will say in terms of the disorder. She's already from the very start, she's trying to deflect criticism, which obviously it's not working. There's a lot of people making videos about her. There's like personal tea and stuff going on. Like I said, we're not going to get into that at this time, at least. I'm not really about that at this moment. We're talking about this specific, this specific disordered issue. But I will say she's doing that thing. So she's already trying to prevent criticism. That's what I will say. It's something that's done very often within E followed by the letter D. Remember that for the most part, somebody who's in it very deeply, their deepest desire is to not change it. So they will do anything to not change the behavior. Okay?
The deeper stuff in terms of my weight loss, in terms of my health. A while ago, I kind of just lied down and never got back up. And I'm still there. And I'm going to film this and I'm going to talk. And I'm obviously very nervous too.
Oh, we gotta add 1 second. 1 second. Okay.
This is probably going to get personal and pretty deep. So if I cry, I'm sorry. I'm not planning on it, but I probably will, to be honest. Before I get into any of that, I want to share some good news. Next week, I think today's Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Wednesday. Next week, on the 10th, I'm starting my new job. I did find a remote job, got hired, decent pay. It's 100% remote. I'm very excited. I have my preliminary meeting tomorrow. It's an hour meeting to meet my trainer and whoever decides to show up. So I'm excited to have a day job to kind of fall back on because the truth is, I think I kind of...
So I think this is also a part of that avoiding criticism. So I have these good things going on too, so don't be upset with me, you see. But we're not getting to the issue, she's not getting right into it. She's kind of doing some buffers and some things preliminarily to kind of avoid talking about it, even when she's specifically addressing it.
I've accidentally pinned myself into an unhealthy dynamic with my lives and my eating. I have completely fallen off the wagon, and I've been very upfront about it in my lives. I've not tried to hide anything about that because I didn't want to completely disappear, but I don't like who I've been in recent months because I know that I have fully fallen into my food addiction.
Okay.
And
so I have told you guys a lot that people within toxic ritualistic behaviors, they use food addiction as a way of deflecting from the actual issue. So I will say here, loud and proudly, you do not have food addiction. You have an E followed by the letter D. You have a toxic ritualistic association with food. You're doing things very repetitively. You're obsessed with it. You're obsessed with the way your body looks, the food that you're eating, the food that you're not eating. Those three aspects. It's an obsession. It doesn't come with a physical addictive quality, but people say it does because they're trying to deflect. It's a way of disempowering yourself from the mental games that you're playing with your body. And now, unfortunately, she's doing it with her audience. And I do think there is probably somewhat of a correlation between binge ed and being a lol cow within girl world, basically. A lot of people that have that issue, they are obsessed with drama and these types of things. I'm not saying everybody is. I am saying I used to be when I had it. So I'm not saying it from being on a high horse. I'm saying it from, I remember a time when I was addicted to drama and I had this disorder. And it's something that I do see in a lot of other people that have this disorder. It seems to be somewhat of a correlation. So it's something to be wary of. You know, I had certain phases online where I was in my E followed by the letter D, and I got in a lot of drama online. And it was very up and down. It was very cyclical. I gained and lost like 80 pounds twice in 1 year before, all online. It's bad. So it's very, I will just say it is reputation destroying, especially if, and I understand that most of the time you're going to talk about weight loss because that's also a part of the disorder. But that's why I don't think it's great to publicize your disorder and kind of drag along your audience with it, which I feel like is what Rosie is doing. If she doesn't understand that's what she's doing, I'm saying that's what she's doing. I want you guys to know that that's what she's doing. So some of it is not intentional. Some of it is, remember, delusional. It's a mental illness. There's a delusional aspect to an ED. And so I'm not sure, like she says she has it, but I don't know if she really understands what it is. But what I can tell you is it's not an addiction. The only thing is maybe an addiction to drama, but it's very different. It's a totally different thing, and it has to do with your brain being fried because the stuff you're doing to your body, it's very, very toxically overstimulating to the brain in a way that it makes everything else in life incredibly boring. And that's what I think causes the obsession with drama and stuff, because you become very bored. And also, when you are super morbidly obese, it can be hard to get out and live and do things. So that also increases boredom. So it's something to be aware of, and it's something to kind of guard against, in my opinion.
I can list all these excuses and I can list all of these things and say all of these reasons, and I might discuss some of them because I think there are people that can relate to it. But as I said in my weight loss video, the one where I reached...
Yeah, I don't necessarily personally mind her sharing this because it can be a teachable moment. Like, I can use it to teach you guys about it because it's good to actually see this kind of rationalization occurring. This is what she's doing. So what typically happens within BINGE ed is basically you have to kind of explain something really drastic. So she says in this video that she's gained 100 pounds. That's drastic. Okay, there's definitely toxic ritualistic behavior going on. That's not something that you accidentally do. That's not seasonal. That's not any of that. That's a large amount of weight. Okay, that's a very, very big amount of weight. That takes a lot of food. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes to gain 100 pounds. It takes a lot. Okay, and there is this kind of idea within the toxic ritualistic headspace that you can just slip and gain 100 pounds or something. That's not real. That isn't true. It doesn't work that way. There's a deliberate action going on, even if it is subconscious. You are taking steps to gain that weight back. There's stuff happening behind the scenes. So she does come up with a lot of excuses as to why it happened. I just have to be real. They are excuses, and we're going to get into them.
100 pounds down. I'm down 102 pounds. I'm so excited, but I can feel that self-saboteur deep down, feeling uncomfortable.
That's the disorder. Okay. So it's not like anything normal, cutesy, funny. It's not. This is the disorder talking to her. It's that, remember, it's much more similar to OCD. So it's that repetitive thing coming into her mind. You can't really do this. You can't really do this. This isn't really you. You can't really do that. This isn't going to happen. This isn't going to last. This is this. This is that. I want to ruin this. 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 You see the repetitive thought processes? That's what's going on behind that. And people are not always aware of that, but that's what it is. If you feel a need to sabotage your weight loss, it's very likely that you have an E followed by the letter D. That is extremely likely because it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Why would you otherwise? What is the big deal about it? There isn't a big deal. You make it up in your own head. That's a part of the disorder.
So I'm just gonna have to not let that part of me win. This entire new journey that I'm on is all about loving myself enough to understand how to.
So, something that I have criticized often in the past, and that I feel a lot of people don't necessarily understand, is you can't be soft and gushy with this disorder. This isn't something that you can just love yourself away. This is something you have to actively fight and say, no, that's stupid. No, I'm not listening to that. You have to have a very intense or very strong way of handling these thoughts because they are sticky, they weasel in, you start rationalizing, things start making sense to you that don't make sense because you start to get delusional. You have to shut it down. So what she should have said to herself in that moment is, that's stupid. Why would I sabotage it? That's dumb. And just don't think about it anymore because it is dumb. It doesn't make sense. It's not interesting. It's not cool. It's not fun. It's not funny. It's weird. It's unnecessary. It's illogical. And you're just playing games in your own head. You're playing games with yourself. There is no need to feel the need to regain 100 pounds. That doesn't make sense. It's not logical, and you should be telling yourself, that is stupid. That is a stupid thought. That is a stupid thing to think. I'm not even going to consider that because that is really dumb. That's dumb. That's my disorder speaking. That's stupid. You have to be a little harsh. That kind of like, oh, you can't coddle this away. It doesn't work. It does not work. Trust me, it doesn't work. It clearly didn't.
Combat the toxicity within myself. I could feel this thing bubbling under the surface. This fear.
It's the disorder. Notice she says fear. Remember what I told you guys. I have a video in my description about toxic ritualistic behavior. It has to do with fear. It is a fear-based disorder. So, is there any reason to fear having weight lost? No. Why would you? I mean, really think about what would be an actual logical reason rooted in physical reality that she should fear having lost 100 pounds. I'll wait. You see the disorder part? You see how that is not an addiction. It is a mental disorder, one that you have to fight. Because the only way that you're going to not be scared is if you don't do the behavior and then you realize that you survived. There's a very strange feeling within the disorder that if you do not do these steps, you will die. Like, it's this very strange subconscious thought process of like, if I don't do this, I will die in 7 days. Very strange. But through not doing it, then you understand that you don't die. Then the fear goes away because you have to fight it. You have to face the fear. Otherwise, you're not going to get out. It's not a gentle, cutesy, love and light thing. You have to fight it. You have to fight this disorder and say, no, this is stupid. No, I'm not doing it. No, I don't care. I don't care if I sit here and cry for 5 hours straight. I am not doing the fucking disorder. I'm not doing it anymore. I do not care. And you'll cry, you'll have a moment, but you live. And then you're like, oh, that really was stupid. It's similar to when you're a kid and you're fearing that there's something under the bed and you have to look and see that there's nothing there and you can't bear to look at it. So you just sit there agonizing and agonizing and agonizing over this thing when all you have to do is check and there's not anything there. It's very similar in this disorder. It is fear-based. So what she would have to do is just not do the behavior. If she doesn't do it, she'll realize she doesn't have to do it. But it takes grit. You have to fight it. You have to say, I'm not doing it. You have to deal with crying. You have to deal with being upset. You have to deal with these things, with the anxiety of it, to get out. You can't be cute about it. It doesn't do anything.
I almost predicted this because I fell back into one of my cycles, one of my patterns, and I am...
It's not necessarily that you predicted it, it's that you're planning it. When you're doing that kind of stuff in your mind, you're planning the next step in the cycle. So remember, a part of BINGE ed is a restrictive cycle. That is a part of it. So it's either you're thinking about when you're going to restrict or you're doing the restriction. Then when you are restricting, then you start thinking about when you're going to BINGE or you're BINGing. You're always thinking about that next part of the cycle. And the whole time, you're thinking about your body the entire time. So when you say that, Rosie, I hear, I was never out of the disorder at all. I'm not even close to being out. She has a very baseline awareness of it, but I don't think she actually is aware of what it actually is.
I'm embarrassed about it because I'm so self-aware of it. I'm just trying to sit here and like be proud of myself and just let myself...
Being self-aware is important, but you also have to fight it. And I'm not seeing her fighting it. And I'm just going to say it. I don't see the fight. I don't. I see an awareness of the issue with nothing else really happening. Just being aware of this isn't going to do anything.
Enjoy this win. This is a win.
It is a part of it. It's a part of fixing the issue to become aware. It's good that Rosie is aware, but I don't necessarily think she's that aware because she's sitting here saying it's an addiction. So she's not that aware. because it's a game. It's something you use so that it doesn't have to change, because she doesn't want to change. She doesn't want to give up this game. And that's a very harsh truth. But I can't sit here and pussyfoot around the fact that she regained 100 pounds. That is very serious. That is very drastic. And being nice and not criticizing it is not going to help her. It's not going to help anybody. It's going to confuse people, which I think a lot of people in her audience are probably more confused now.
Thing. It's going to be interesting to see how the next couple days go, because something like this could absolutely trigger me, which is bizarre. I know. But that's kind of...
It's okay to be triggered. It's not okay to do the behavior. Okay, we can't always control if we are triggered. But like I said, you cry about it, you have anxiety over it, go ahead and have the freaking anxiety attack over it. That's not going to kill you. The disorder will. And that's not what people want to hear. But I'm sorry, it's not necessarily glamorous to get out. It just isn't, especially when you're in this deep. You can start small. You can start breaking up the ritual in various ways, but you have to fight it. You're going to have a tendency, and you're going to want to take a part in the ritual. So you have to fight yourself a lot to stop. People don't want to hear that. They don't. But guess what? In order to fight it, you have to not want it anymore. You have to realize you got to give it up. That's hard. And I understand how stubborn people can be. Like I told you guys, I was writing that out to the very end. I was almost going to pass from this disorder. I've told you guys I don't think men have as much time being as big or being within this disorder because of certain hormonal factors. So I had to get out or I wasn't going to be here anymore. She may not be that far from that. You know, I don't know where she's at with her health, but I'm aware that she has a lot of health issues and it's not helping. This disorder is not going to help your health issues. It's going to make everything worse. Everything. You do not want to be messing with something like you're eating, because it is a foundational part of life. If you mess with that, you mess with so many different aspects of your life. It's very negative. This is a very bad thing.
Kind of the name of the game, isn't it? This whole addiction I have, this whole life I've lived is a little bizarre.
It's not an addiction. It's a disorder. It's more similar to obsessive compulsion. You have a compulsion. It's an obsessive compulsion to do this, based in fear. Addiction is not based in fear. Addiction is based in physical dependency, which is very different. This is psychological, which means you have to fight it differently. And part of that means you can't have this show aspect and kind of appropriate different aspects of addiction to hide what you're actually doing. You can't do that, because you can't treat it in the same way. It's different. It's different parts of the brain. It's a different aspect. There's a body image component to this, which is very different. You have to not listen to the disorder.
I wish that self-awareness was enough.
It's not.
Me to get myself.
It's a part of the step, but I don't know how aware you actually are. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think you're that aware of what you're doing. You kind of shift within it. Or there's like some kind of grasping of what it is, but then it shifts to something else and you're off. You're not on point.
To stop repeating my patterns and my cycles. And it's just not. I don't understand this disconnect I've had my whole life. I've done so much therapy that when I'm in therapy nowadays, I just get frustrated because I feel like I'm going in circles. And that's another thing that contributed to this.
It's because you have to fight the disorder. And a lot of times people get to a point where they will do every single thing they can possibly do besides fighting the disorder. And people do not want to hear this, but you have to white knuckle it. There really isn't a way around it, especially if it's severe. You're going to have to white knuckle it. You're going to have to say, no, I'm not listening. No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You have to just stop. You have to just stop. You have to stop the behavior. You have to stop the cycle. You have to break the cycle. So you say, no, I'm not doing it. And then you have to fight. And it's like I had phases where I was fighting doing it. I was really fighting. I white knuckled it so hard to not do it. And I could not help it still because it's very difficult. And I do worry because it can take years. And to me, it seems like it's extremely deeply ingrained within her. So it's like you have to be fighting it now. And it could still probably take years to be done. You have to think of it. It's like losing your religion. It's like a divorce. It's a serious thing. It's a process. It's not something that's usually fast for most people, but you have to fight it. You have to say, I'm done. I'm done doing this. I'm not going to do the cycle. I'm not going to be, obsessed with the drama of this cycle. I'm not going to keep doing these things over and over again that I know are not going to do anything because you're putting emotion into the cycle. So you're sitting here, you're crying, you're doing this. You already know how this goes. This shouldn't be emotional for you. This is not real. It's not real emotion. This is something you've already done over and over again. So it's not real. It's something that you're putting into it, which is also part of the disorder because you're trying to make it a more thrilling experience. Like I said, this is not going to be a nice video. This is very, very blatant. This is what people do in this disorder. Because you put a lot of emotion into it because it kind of becomes exciting for you to have it, which is so toxic. And trust me, I understand. It's very hard. When I was done, I was so bored. My brain was so completely fried and I had to deal with it. I had to deal with, after I wasn't doing the behavior for 2 years, my brain started to come down from everything. And I was so chemically, physically bored. It was a huge letdown. It was very hard. And so I understand why people don't want to do this. They don't want to recover because it's difficult. It is difficult. But you have to stop. You have to just say, this is dumb. This isn't ever going to lead anywhere. This is just the same thing over and over again. So stop crying. You've probably done this many times in your life. This is not a shock. The shock is not real. It's fake. And I don't think that she's necessarily playing it up for her audience. She's playing it up for herself within the disorder. Remember, it is a mental disorder.
I lost my insurance a few months ago, 2, 3, 4 months ago. Honestly, I don't remember what month it was. And losing my insurance.
Losing your insurance does not mean that you have to gain 100 pounds. That is a bullshit excuse. That is bullshit.
I lost access to my therapy.
Doesn't mean you have to gain 100 pounds. I'm sure that you had some therapeutic skills that were imbued to you through however long you've been in therapy. So gaining 100 pounds has nothing to do with not going to therapy anymore. That is an excuse.
And that sucked. So I've been in therapy for a bit. And then shortly thereafter, I haven't been taking care of my health. I haven't been taking my medication. I haven't been taking care of myself. And
still not an excuse for gaining 100 pounds. I'm going to keep saying it.
I feel so defeated. Because I logically know the answers. I logically know what I need to do. I've done it before. But I don't know how to be consistent. I've never known how to do that. And
you have to not listen to the disorder. You have to not listen to it. That's how. You have to stop playing up the drama behind it. You have to stop playing up your emotion. You're putting too much emotion into it. It's not actually that interesting. It's not actually that emotional. It's not surprising. It's not anything. It's all fake. And you have to see how fake it is and stop putting emotion into it. And then it becomes easier because you just realize you see it for what it is. It's just a cycle. It's very repetitive. It's so repetitive. And I fear that she's going to start doing this with her audience. And that's how you get into that Amberlynn stage where she's in her disordered, toxic cycles over and over and over. You've seen she's been going on and on and on for years and years and years online. That's the path you're on. If you don't fight it, you're not going to get out.
Recently been thinking about this because I've been behaving like an addict recently.
Mm-mm.
And I've been hiding it from everyone in my life because I'm embarrassed and ashamed.
The shame and the embarrassment doesn't help. It only fuels the disorder because it's fueling those emotions behind it. It's creating that false sense of stimulation that you're likely depending on, especially in a super morbidly obese state. So being embarrassed about this, it's not actually helping. You need to de-emotionalize all aspects of this, which also means embarrassment is not helpful. It isn't. Shame and embarrassment are not helpful in this disorder. It only fuels it. So it's not really about anyone else. Nobody can make you stop this. You have to choose to stop it. So shame and all that, it's just a game. It's just a game. It's something that you're playing up. Yes, people can judge, and yes, people can have something to say about it, but you're still doing it. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything. Just, if I were her, I would really think about what it is that I'm actually doing. I'm doing a repetitive cycle of gaining and losing pounds. Gaining and losing pounds. Gaining and losing pounds, obsessing over the way I look. Gaining and losing pounds, gaining and losing pounds, obsessing about my weight. Gaining and losing pounds, gaining and losing pounds, gaining and losing pounds, and obsessing about my weight. Gaining and losing pounds, gaining and losing pounds, gaining and losing pounds, and obsessing about my weight. Do you see how repetitive it is? I only repeated that like however many times, and I probably bored half of you guys that are watching. Are you going to hear what I just said and then cry about it? Are you going to hear what I just said and be like, are you going to hear what I just said and be like, I'm so embarrassed? No, it's not real. None of that is real. This has already happened over and over and over again. So this is all fake. It's a fake emotion that you're putting into it.
And this is probably one of the first times I'm saying it out loud. I gotta get a tissue or something. Or not a tissue, a cloth or something. Hold on. For so long, I've always said that I don't feel like I'm a victim and I don't want to be, and I'm not in a victim mindset. But that's where I feel like some of my...
So I don't know what happened in your past. I don't know about your trauma or where this disorder came from. All I do know is something happened. That's all I do know. And that would really be what you would have to deal with as well to get out of this disorder, because you have to bring down the anxiety. So part of bringing down the anxiety is bringing down the emotion behind it. That would really help. So that's usually the root of it. But you don't have to unpack the trauma and do all that in order to fight the disorder. You can fight the disorder right now. Just don't listen to it. Just don't do the ritual. So you don't have to do anything to start fighting it. You can start fighting it right this instant. Again, there's really no excuse for not fighting the disorder.
Self-awareness has been lacking. Because it's maybe not in my life, maybe not in like my past traumas, I don't feel that way, but in my current moment, when it comes to food, when it comes to this addiction that I have, I think I am in a victim mindset.
It's not an addiction. I'm going to keep saying that. It's an obsession. They're two different things. She's trying to talk about past trauma or not being a victim. There may be something within your past where you were victimized. So that could be a case. I don't know what it is. But as far as this disorder, no, you're not a victim. You're doing it to yourself. It's totally self-inflicted.
Because I feel powerless and because I've given in, and I'm normally the kind of person...
You're not powerless. That's fake. So that's a lie. So when it comes to this disorder, people often will say they're powerless. It's not real. So again, sometimes when we lie, we are also lying to ourselves. So I'm not saying this to say like, oh, she's being evil and she's trying to manipulate her audience. I don't necessarily see it that way. I see it as a self-delusion or a lie to the self. This is a self, and this is a lie to herself that she's now sharing to other people. She's not powerless. You can always stop. There may be reasons, there may be anxieties. It's usually just anxiety. So you have to face the anxiety. But you could stop right now. You know, I just stopped October 2020. I stopped. It's been, almost 4.5 years. I haven't done a single time. So you can stop. Yes, it can take years to stop, but you have to fight it. I'm going to keep saying that. You have to fight it. I had to fight it for 6 years. You cannot coddle this away. You have to be pretty harsh with the disorder to get rid of it. You can't give it anything, any credence. There's zero credence to it. It's all bullshit. All of it.
It works very hard to get back up when I get knocked down. And I've just been staying down. I've been hiding in a hole. I've been binge watching TV shows to escape. I have been participating in communities online that I know aren't good for me. And I do it anyway.
But that has nothing to do with gaining 100 pounds. I'm going to keep saying that. None of this has anything to do with that. The connection does not exist. None of that stuff has anything. You could do all that stuff. You could be messy in the drama and tea. You could be obsessed with shows. You could do all of that. You could lose your insurance. You could do all of it and not gain 100 pounds. It is not connected. That is bullshit. What you should be saying to your audience is, I'm eating a lot. That's why I gained weight. I'm eating a lot. That's why I gained weight. Because I'm drastically overeating, or you can be even more honest and say I'm binging constantly. So I gained 100 pounds. That's honest. That's the truth. None of this other stuff has anything to do with it. Certainly not being obsessed with a TV show or being in a messy forum. No. Not connected to eating behavior. Not at all.
And I like to be snarky sometimes and like a part of the tea, and like I don't think there's necessarily things wrong with that, but when I choose the subject matter to be something that is in a way a projection of myself, that's inherently a problem, right?
Has nothing to do with your eating behavior. I'm going to keep saying it. This is all superfluous. This should be in a different video topic. This has nothing to do with it.
Logically makes sense to me. So when I recently found myself...
So is the condition I have to stop being in these forums in order to stop binging? Nope. It's not real. It's not true. There's plenty of people in messy forums that don't gain 100 pounds. The connection does not exist.
In these like weird tit for tat things that I didn't necessarily ask for, but that I engaged in.
But you see how she's doing everything to talk about everything else around it. This is what I'm talking about deflection in this disorder. She's trying to get you guys to look at different rabbit holes, go down different paths in your mind so you forget what the actual issue is. I'm going to keep reminding you. The issue is she regained 100 pounds. None of this has anything to do with that, Rosie. None of it does. So why are you talking about it? You know what the difference is between someone who's obsessed with a TV show, who's watching a forum, and doesn't drastically overeat or binge for months, and a person that does obsess over TV shows and forums, that does gain 100 pounds from binging? One of them has a disorder and the other one doesn't. So I don't think that any of this has to do with it. It's the disorder. It's the disorder that you're not fighting. That's what it is. This has nothing to do with anything. She keeps putting conditions on her recovery. This is a way of not actually getting rid of it. You see? Oh, well, I have to go to therapy to get over it. I have to stop being in these forums to get over it. I have to stop doing this to get over it. I have to stop doing that to get over it. I have to stop doing this. I have to. Do you see the list of have tos? It's because she doesn't want it to actually end. So you create these impossible standards. So do you need to sit and stare at the wall, Rosie, to stop eating so much that you gain 100 pounds? Is that what you're telling me? Then you better glue your nose to that wall because your life depends on it. But it's a bunch of bullshit. She's making it harder than it has to be. Fight the disorder. Deal with the anxiety. That's what it is. Even if you're dealing with the anxiety by going on a messy forum, that's not going to kill you. You do not eat because of anxiety. That's a never. Never. That's deadly.
How is that benefiting me? How is that helping me?
It has nothing to do with anything.
Spoiler alert, it's not. It's distracting me. It's making me feel better because my life...
You're distracting yourself because you're acting like this has anything to do with how you gained so much weight.
...has been sucking, and that is why I haven't been vlogging. I don't want to vlog me whining and complaining and making excuses. I don't want to vlog pretending that things are fine when they're not. I don't want to vlog and monetize my food addiction. I sure don't.
I don't know what this is about, but she's been doing daily live streams, so clearly she's fine with filming herself the way her life is. So what is the point of this?
I appreciate the people that have supported me, and I understand the people that haven't been participating in my lives.
What does this have to do with the weight gain? I'm going to keep bringing it back.
I understand.
When I have gained weight on this channel, you want to see the non-disordered way? I say flat out, in December I ate more. I ate more for 2 or 3 weeks. It was around there. 2 weeks and change. Last November, I ate drastically more in November. So I gained weight. End of discussion. I was physically hungry. The hunger stopped. I stopped massively overeating. And then I continued to lose in the next year. But you see how that isn't disordered? I didn't go on a list of things or tell you guys like all these different reasons. I said, look, I'm hypo. I'm fucking hungry. And I ate. And I'm going to eat. And I did. I didn't eat because of anxiety. I ate because I was hungry. And that hunger went away after a few weeks. And it was really short last year. Like I said, it was less than 3 weeks. And it was just in December. So that was pretty good. So it shows that my hypo had improved, but it's like, that's what it was. When it's a physical thing, it's boring to talk about. But it's something that's important. If you're doing a channel where you're talking to your audience about this stuff, it's really, really important to be very transparent and keep it simple.
Some of the hypocrisy that I've displayed when it comes to my relationship with food and how I act around food on the internet and my past. I don't necessarily agree with some points of it, but I also understand some other people's perspective of it. I'm excited to start my new job and to have more structure in my day because I gotta get back up. I'm trying to run away from myself. And getting this new job means I'm going to get insurance again.
What you're doing is you're running away from the disorder. You don't want to address it because you don't want it to change. That's what you're doing. So notice how many things she's talking about that have nothing to do with the disorder. That's a part of the deflection. So if you're dealing with somebody that has this problem, don't let them deflect like this. Which she's doing this on a camera. So obviously it's, nobody's going to talk back to her, basically. I mean, you can, like, in terms of what I'm doing, or you can in terms of a comment or something, but I'm not necessarily saying for you guys to go in there and do that or whatever. I'm doing this more to educate people about it and to help people that are fighting it, because it can be helpful when you're fighting it to see somebody else doing the stuff that you do. That's why I'm doing this video. It's not necessarily about Rosie. It's not personal. It's more for educational purposes and, like I said, to help motivate people that are following me to continue to fight their disorder or to stay in recovery and not relapse. That helped me. I was watching Mr. Snowflake cover Amberlynn, and it helped me at a weak moment where I was really close to relapse last April. And it helped me because seeing what she was doing, I was like, oh no, I can never do that again. So I didn't. So it can be helpful sometimes. I know that these are gray areas online. It's weird. But that's why I'm doing it. I don't think that Rosie would listen to me. I don't think she's trying to recover that much. Honestly, I don't. So I wouldn't necessarily even, spam her with comments or even comment it towards her or anything, because I think it's just going to be a brick wall. She has this very, very baseline awareness that there's something going on, but she's not actually aware, and she's not actually fighting it, in my opinion.
I gotta get back into therapy. But I've been at this for a long time. The therapy stuff. I don't know what that looks like because I find myself running in circles. Like, I have my reasons for not wanting weight loss surgery. The GLP-1 medication didn't work for me. There's the obvious, I need to track my calories and do a calorie deficit and move more. And that's what I have to walk towards. But that's what I struggle to maintain and do.
It's because you have a disorder. You have a mental disorder. That's why. So the disorder is what's stopping you. So you need to fight that disorder.
It's like I don't want to do what's it called, like the Food Addicts Anonymous, whatever the fuck that is, because I don't agree with food abstinence. I don't even know how that works. Actually, I read into it, and the way that it works is too extreme. The extreme restriction doesn't work for me in my binge eating disorder, and it's like I just find all these like.
So she talks about it. Notice how she barely touched on it. I feel like that should have been the entire topic. That's the whole reason you gain the weight back. So what is all this other stuff? And see, she only just mentions it just in passing once. That's not somebody who's trying to recover. Why are you just, let me just throw that in there, and then, she's using it even as a weapon to excuse why she can't fight it. You see how that kind of mental gymnastics that was? I can't go to this program because I have this disorder. Well, why don't you get rid of that disorder? Then maybe you can go. Or maybe you won't even need to go. Maybe if you get rid of that disorder, then counting calories and exercising won't be a big deal anymore. It won't be this emotional experience anymore. It's going to be boring, actually. Especially when you just got to focus on the physical side of things. Being super morbidly obese, it's kind of boring. Get to a place where it becomes boring. Because it is. It's simple. But the disorder is the most important piece. If you go back to therapy, I would tell your therapist, I have this disorder. I need to get rid of it. And if you're not making progress on that disorder with that therapist, then you need to find a different therapist and tell them the problem you have. And say, I need you to help me with this disorder. And if they don't do it, then you go somewhere else. And if nobody can help you, then you do it yourself. Because what is the alternative? There's no excuse for not fighting this.
Like loops, and there's that main path that I need to walk down on and stay on. And I had a major failure. And I don't want to become a joke. And that scares me. I want to share myself and my life. And I want to share those failures. I want to just kind of reiterate, one of the biggest reasons I haven't been vlogging is because I'm not the type of person to skirt accountability or fake my life or fake things. And I don't know how to move forward because there's things that I want.
I know that that's who you want to be, but within the disorder, you're doing it. You're skirting accountability. You're saying, I'm powerless over this. You're not. That's not true. And you're being fake to yourself. Like I said, I don't think that she's purposefully lying to her audience. I think she's lying to herself, and that's a part of the disorder. So you need to be honest with yourself. One of my simplest recoveries was saying, I know why I'm fat. It's because I eat so much. That's a very powerful statement for somebody with BINGE ed to say. Because that can be really hard for people. You need to start having some brute force truths. And you don't have to do it all online. You don't. Because the online aspect, it doesn't matter as much as actually recovering from this mental issue.
That are much more tied with like my short-term desires and short-term satisfactions, I guess. And then there's the things that I want because I want to be a better, healthier version of myself, that I constantly let fear stop me. And that ties into what I need. Because I need to be healthier in every aspect. Not just in my food, not just in how I eat, but in how I behave and how I...
Stop the disorder and a lot of things will improve.
And how I act and how I am mentally.
The disorder affects every aspect of your life. So stop the disorder and then you'll see what needs to be done in other areas, because this disorder is probably the major problem.
I am a very mentally ill person. And trying to figure out how to acknowledge that and not use my mental health as a shield is something that I'm very cognizant of. Because I do.
Address the disorder. Fight it.
CPTSD and ADHD and MDD, and I am chronically ill and I am disabled by my PTSD.
None of that has anything to do with gaining 100 pounds. I'm going to keep saying it. This doesn't have anything to do with gaining 100 pounds. The ed is what's going on there. That's what you have to fight. And guess what? That can be, you can get over it. Because you stop the behavior, it goes away.
And it sucks. And I do have chronic pain that makes movement very hard. Far beyond the additional weight on my body.
It's the disorder. I'm going to keep saying it.
And it just makes me want to give up. And one of the biggest reasons I'm making this video right now is because I'm just going to come clean and acknowledge what I've been hiding from. Because
you're barely acknowledging it.
The past few weeks specifically, when it comes to the disease of my addiction, of my food addiction.
It's not an addiction. It's a compulsion and an obsession. It's an obsessive compulsion. You're not going to have the shakes from not eating that much. It's not going to happen. So you're not being accountable when you're saying that.
Have been bad because I have just been eating out at a rate that scares me.
Bing. That's what you're doing.
And I purposefully keep it off the internet. Not to hide it, but because I don't want to glamorize it. I don't want to sensationalize it. I don't want to monetize off of it.
Okay, I'm glad that she admits it, but that's a part of the disorder. She is admitting it. But see how long it took? 15 minutes to really get into it.
Because I've done that before.
But she doesn't want to just say it because she doesn't want to be criticized for it. You see? That's how you do it. You kind of lose, you make it a needle in a haystack so that you can lose it in all this other stuff. So people are going to watch this video and be like, whoa, that was a lot of stuff going on. They're not going to really remember what she said. But see, she barely touched on it.
And I'm ashamed of that.
That should have been the main focus of the video. I'm eating this much. If you're going to talk about it, then talk about it. Why? I'm eating this much because I'm anxious about X, Y, and Z. That doesn't make sense though, because being anxious about this shouldn't lead to me eating so much because there isn't actually a connection. That's more of an awareness. And I'm not seeing that. That's what it is. Not having insurance has nothing to do with gaining 100 pounds. Being obsessed with a TV show has nothing to do with gaining 100 pounds. All these things don't have anything to do with it. So don't talk about them. Just talk about the issue. Just really get into it. But people don't want to because they don't want it to change.
So, I'm so frustrated with myself. I'm so mad at myself.
It's not helpful. A lot of toxic ritualistic behaviors are built around self-hatred. So increasing it, it's not going to help. Like I said, what really helps is getting the emotion out of it.
So, the plan moving forward is baby steps because I have got to stop self-harming in this way because that's what I'm doing. I'm 33 years old.
That's aware. There's a little bit there. There's a little something. That was a nugget there.
And I've come a good long way from my mental health from when I was younger, right? And who I currently am today. And it is exhausting to just realize how much more I have to go and the work that needs to be done from current versions of me. Because I've changed a lot from how I presented in my behaviors, I guess, when I was younger. Because I'm much more of a shut-in. I don't trust people. I don't talk to many people on like a very
So
deep
I think
level.
we're getting out of that. You see, there was 3 pieces. So she said, I have the disorder. I ate a lot. I'm harming myself. You see, the whole video could have been in 30 seconds. All this other stuff, she's using it as a deflection. So I'm shut in. I'm this. That has nothing. That doesn't cause you to gain 100 pounds. I'm going to keep saying it.
Because I don't trust people.
Not trusting people doesn't cause you to gain 100 pounds.
Having reaction channels dox my address and send packages to my house.
No connection to eating behavior. It's not real. Not a real connection.
And stalk my every move and have
no connection to eating behavior. Not a real connection.
Several people try to infiltrate my community.
No connection to eating behavior. Not a real connection. I'm going to keep saying it.
Really has like fucked with me in a way where I can't even like trust genuine engagement a lot of the time. And I'm afraid to make friends. So I isolate a lot. And that has been fueling a lot of these behaviors.
Okay. But I'm going to say it again. You can isolate and not gain 100 pounds. The connection isn't actually there. These can all be real issues. I'm sure they are. I'm not saying that they're not real issues. What I'm trying to say is they're not actually connected to your eating behavior. I have been vastly miserable throughout my weight loss journey, especially 2023. I will always bring up that year. It was horrible. But I could still do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because no matter how miserable you are, it has nothing to do with your eating behavior. That's not a real connection. That doesn't exist.
And triggering them.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money.
1 second. Okay.
And I have to work on letting that go. And understand that I don't have things to hide. And that it is okay to trust people. And that not everyone is out to hurt you. You know? So, the plan moving forward, like I was saying earlier, is the baby steps. I need to stop eating. I wish I could block DoorDash off my phone. Jesus Christ. You guys, you want to know something really stupid? For months, I would just delete DoorDash off my app off my phone every time I didn't want to use it. And like the next day I would re-download it and then I would delete it again. And like a day or two later I would re-download it and I refused to pay for Dash Pass for a while because I was like, then I'll just have excuses to keep using it. So I ended up spending extra money for months thinking that it was helping me order out less when it was just this delusional spiral I was going down.
Yeah.
And then
It's a part of the disorder. You're playing games with yourself. That's a part of the disorder.
I recently was just like, oh, fuck it. Just get the DoorDash Pass. You're spending...
Because again, having a DoorDash pass or not doesn't affect your behavior. It's not a real connection. It can be a part of the game, but it's not really doing anything. It doesn't matter. I could have DoorDash on my phone. It doesn't do anything. The DoorDash doesn't jump out at your phone and order stuff for you. That's not the way it works. I could go to the grocery store right now, still open. I could go there right now and I could buy anything I wanted. Well, within certain limits. I mean, I don't have that much money, but I'm just saying, I have enough money where if I wanted to be ING, I could totally do it right now. But guess what? I don't have the disorder anymore, so there's no behavior there. the behavior doesn't happen because I dealt with the disorder. You need to deal with the disorder.
The money anyway. So I did. And that was one of the first moments I was kind of like, oh, this is a problem. I'm excited to get a car. I'm going to wait till I have some pay stubs so I can finance a car. And, yeah. And that's one of the reasons I still don't have a car is I was having issues with that because of having been on leave and stuff. So I was just like, well, when I get this new job, I'll just work, I'll get the pay stubs, and that'll be enough to finance. Before now, I wasn't ready, to be honest, and talk about what was really going on and be honest about it. So I just shut down.
You barely talked about it.
And I'm going to start by working on stopping the eating out and reestablishing patterns that I had in the past that helped me, like tracking my food, making better food choices, and just doing that slow elimination process that I started.
Okay, but don't let it just be a part of the cycle. You need to address the disorder. I'm going to keep saying it because that's a part of the cycle. So are you actually recovering, or are you just doing the next step in the cycle? Which, again, the more often you do it, you're going to piss your audience off.
Probably, a year ago? I don't know. I need to work with a calorie deficit and building a pattern of small, sustainable workout options that I can do with my physical limitations from my chronic pain. And it feels impossible, but it's not. It is possible. People who I've been seeing recently online that have been helping me wake up. I'm mutuals with Jordan on TikTok. I don't know if any of you know who Jordan is. Love Jordan. She's so funny. She's lost like 150 pounds roughly through diet and exercise after her cancer diagnosis. She's such a badass and she's such an inspiration, and there are times where I watch her content and I just cry because I want to be there and I'm not, and I have no one to blame for that but myself. I got down to 100 and I'm so scared to get on that scale because I wouldn't be surprised if I've gained 40 to 50 pounds in 6 months. And
when I was at the height of my disorder, or one of the heights, had a massive relapse in 2018. I gained 40 pounds in 3 to 4 months. So it could be more too. It depends.
Embarrassed. But I cannot let that stop me forever. And I can't let...
When I was at the height of it, when I had another height in 2019, which it was getting right to the end of it, like I said, I gained 80 pounds from July to October. Then I lost it again from October to February, and then I gained it back again from February to July. That's 80. So it can be really drastic. So I know I was saying 100 in this a lot, but I say it because I know how bad it can be. And oftentimes within the disorder, you go until you get back to those numbers. So I say 100 because I fear she did gain 100. Because you tend to go back to where you started. I don't know if she's weighing herself, but that's why I said it a lot throughout the video.
Ascension, drive the fear that's making me stop myself. I can't let other people's words fuel me getting in my own way. Because that's what I do. I get in my own way. I have my whole life. And I feel like right now making this video is me taking the first step to fighting my addiction for the first time in a long time. Because I have not relapsed this deep in...
Because a lot of times that number, that starting weight, it becomes kind of like a, well, I know I was okay at that weight before, so I can do it again. So again, I'm getting into some very dark stuff, but I'm here, I'm out of it, so I can expose it. So I know that's dark. I don't, I hope I'm wrong, I do. But I know the disorder. I know it very well.
A couple of years. So I don't know where we go from here. I am starting a full-time job. I'm not going to make any promises about vlogs or uploads or anything like that. But I do lives pretty regularly. I have gotten a few comments of people accusing me of abandoning my channel. I haven't. I've been here this whole time. But not everybody wants to watch me cooking and eating on live stream, and I get that. I also do other stuff on live stream, but a lot of it's cooking content because that's what's easy. And I'm a lot of things. But I'm honest. And
I don't think she's intentionally lying to her audience. I will keep saying that. I don't. But I don't think she's honest with herself, necessarily. I think there's touches of honesty there, but it's not enough, clearly. So I don't know if she really says anything else. I guess I'll just probably stop it here. But let me know what you guys think, as always. I'm here exposing the depths of this disorder. And I see it. I see it. If I was Rosie, I would either stop the behavior myself. If I could not do it myself, I would go to a therapist and say, I have this issue. I need you to help me with this specific problem. Period. And if they're not equipped at that, then I'd say, then tell me who I can go to, who can help me stop this. Because I think it helps therapists if you tell them a specific goal. But yeah, in order to do all that, you have to want it to end. So I know this video got kind of dark, but I told you from the start this would be more serious. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and go. Remember, this isn't about sending Rosie any hate or anything. She just put this out there. I'm going to comment on it. Because like I said, I know the disorder very well. But thank you guys so much. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. We're starting a whole new era. I'm not going to get all gay at the end because this video is too serious, but I will be back tomorrow. Have a good one, you guys. Peace.